Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start today's video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is doing better than fantastic. Today, I wanted to talk about something very important. And that is, though there are many out there that say, those that have these toxic traits of a narcissist, or those that are considered to be narcissists, are a very small amount of the population. And when we hear that, it tends to make us drop our guard, and make us think. Most of the people that we meet and get to know, they have a normal amount of reasoning skills. They have a healthy amount of empathy. And they tend to feel good about doing positive things. But sadly, as we go into different situations, no matter if it's a romantic relationship, friendship, work relationship, or those that are on what is called the upper levels of society, sadly we see these same toxic patterns played out again and again and again. And then we think, but I thought these types are a small part of our population? Why am I seeing these same types of people with the same toxic patterns everywhere I go? First, I want to take a step back for a moment and talk about the workplace. The simple idea of just going to work these days and doing your job well and going home, for most people doesn't exist. There are a few out there that have a great job, with a great boss, and even the owner of the company is great, and their work is valued and they feel great every day to go to work. And on top of that, they get paid well. But for most of us, we see something greatly different. Work becomes a game of trying to prevent yourself from getting taken down, all the while you continue to work hard at doing a good job. You see many companies set up these unfair regulations, policies and ways of doing business. And they encourage the way of thinking. If you don't want to work here, you don't have to. So what happens is, people very early on, they learn to give up their moral compass in order to move ahead in whatever company or job they are working at. This may mean, a manager is told by their boss or the company owner that so and so is making too much money. We need to get rid of them so we can hire someone cheaper. I need you to make so and so's life extremely hard and make them quit on their own. Or find a reason to write them up and fire them. And because cost is a major factor of any company doing business, a great many of us have felt we were targeted possibly for this very reason. Even if it's an entry-level job and you were there long enough to get a few raises. You know the job. You do it well. Your peers like you. And you take on new projects to help out anywhere you can. But then out of nowhere you are targeted. Everything you do is brought under strict questioning. You are written up for things that don't make sense. And you are under constant pressure from the moment you arrive at work, and until you leave. And then beyond, because the stress of your work day is sadly carried around with you even when you leave your work doors. You start to think, oh no, what if I lose this job? How will I pay rent? How will I pay for my car? Or medical bills? Or daily food? The fact is, the company that you've worked so hard for doesn't care at all. Much like a narcissist doesn't care when you invest in them and they chew you up and spit you out, so to speak, and discard you penniless and broke. Companies and many jobs, many of them anyways, have adopted this manipulative way of doing business with their workers. So you can't prove you were ever mistreated. And so you end up looking like the bad one. Does this sound familiar? Of course it does. It sounds just like the narcissistic mistreatment many of us have suffered at the hands of the narcissists we've encountered in our lives. But here's the problem: when someone throws away their moral compass so they can get ahead at work or school or whatever part of life they are involved in. This lack of empathy and this lack of normal human care tends to follow them into their normal day-to-day lives with others, such as romantic relationships and friendships. So you have a lot of companies that are doing business like this with their employees. And a great amount of their employees take on this way of life just so they can survive. What does that say about most of the people we encounter? You see, narcissism starts out as a survival mechanism. You see, my brother and I grew up in a toxic home, where more than likely my mother was a narcissist. I started to ask questions early, because there were things that just didn't seem right. My brother witnessed how my mother quickly would turn people against me and make me look like the bad son. He knew his only shot at my mother's love and to not be mistreated, at least that day anyways, was to go along with her narcissism. And what happens when this protective narcissism goes unchecked for too long? It over time becomes their personality and who they end up becoming. This is why many say you can't fix these people. You can only get away from them. Because their toxic personality has become hard like a broken bone that has healed bent or crooked. And just like the narcissist parent or parents that put them on this path, they over time enjoy the narcissism. Meaning they enjoy manipulating others. They enjoy playing the cat and mouse game with others. They enjoy fooling others to think they are friends with them, when they really aren't. And when they do wrong to someone else, they actually feel good inside. Or they feel like it's justified because of all of the bad things they suffered growing up. Even if this person they are doing these bad things to had literally nothing to do with it whatsoever. Now let's look at things from the workplace scenario. You have a great many people compromising their moral compass. Not just to move up, but to just survive day to day at their job. Over time it might take its toll on this person, where eventually they might not feel anything anymore. Setting up an employee to get fired. No big deal. Just a cost of doing business and keeping their job. Or it might get deeper than that. They might feel a sense of power that they enjoy, to where they actively seek out and enjoy getting into such toxic interactions with fellow employees and those under them in the pecking order. And all of this goes on and on and on. Because people in general won't stand up and say enough of this. This is the same toxic pattern I grew up in. And why is it spreading from and to nearly every area of life? You see, there are so many good people that say they would love to go into the public service field. But they are scared of dealing with toxic and terrible co-workers. Because you have to understand, the one that raises their hand in goodwill and in truthfulness is rarely protected. So what happens is the people with good motives and good intentions shy away from such professions. And those that are about the control and manipulation of others, they seek out jobs like this. How do we fix this problem? Admit it. Admit exactly what was just stated here. That people with good intentions are afraid to take such a job because of dealing with horrible dishonest co-workers that enjoy doing bad things to others. And they know in their heart, if they are confronted with such a situation, they won't be protected if they stand up and do the right thing. So these people with good intentions, they pass on such jobs and professions. And if this is admitted today, real, not fake but real mechanisms can be put in place to protect honesty. And we've all heard before. We are working hard to get to the bottom of this so we can put measures in place. So those that see something can speak without fear. If any of you have worked for any company that has said such things and made such pledges, you know that you were still afraid to say something when you knew that your supervisor is targeting you or someone else. Even though you might be a good employee. Because just like narcissists, they are masters at saying they are working on things. That's another red flag: you are likely dealing with one. If you are in a friendship or romantic relationship with someone that promises up and down they are working on things, and you only see things get better for a moment and then things revert back to where they were, it's a good chance you are dealing with a narcissist. Well, jobs, no matter if you are talking about the public service industries, to your basic desk and office jobs, it's no different. Supervisors are coached and taught in seminars how positivity even when they are firing someone. Because it helps not only keep their work environment the same, but it helps deflect blame away from the company and that supervisor for that particular firing. Because the goal is to make it so it's so hard to be able to put your finger on what happened. Because if that is the case, you will have a hard time in court if you ever want to sue a former employer for wrongful termination or mistreatment. Well, I say again, since this has become the norm for the most part, the people that are working for these places are finding themselves going along with this narcissism so they can stay afloat not just at their job but in life. And sadly, this manipulation and narcissism finds itself creeping into how they deal with friends, family, and those they are seeking romantic relationships with. Which makes this problem spread and spread and spread. A lot of people blame this problem on the entertainment that many consume. And I see why they say that, as a great amount of the entertainment has become increasingly toxic. But you take someone that is 20 years old, you give them an entry-level job somewhere, and they figure out if they not only want to hang on to that job but also move up, they have to become a manipulator. It's not just about doing a good job. They have to change all the good things about themselves they've developed up until this point. If they stay this course long enough, of lying, manipulation, and doing wrong to others, this sadly can become a part of their personality that becomes hardwired into who they have now become. And if you potentially meet and date, or start a family with this person thinking they are on the same page as you, you might be sadly mistaken to find out your entire relationship was one big con job. You see, there are people with good intentions that do work these jobs, but they spend most of their time working and dealing with bosses that are targeting them, or trying to find another job, or trying to start their own business so they can get away from the evil. Meanwhile, those that thrive on doing bad to others, they show up every day thinking how they can make your life and day miserable. So how do we make a change? We take a couple of things and make examples of them. First and foremost, the public service jobs. Admit there is rampant behavioral problems with some of those within their ranks. Encourage those that meet their physical toughness demands, but that these candidates also possess high amounts of empathy. Make sure this person can make a split-second choice in a high-stress situation, while daily showing empathy for others. And to not have this a box-checking contests. Because there are many places that say they are working to make changes. They don't. They just put together a bullet point 10-step plan. And they get all of the same non-empathy having people sign off on it. That will not work. We need skilled, strong, and tough people that also have empathy for others to do the job. A job where speaking difficult truths are made more easily done. This will increase people with good intent to apply for such jobs, and those that have bad intent will hide away into the corners of society. And then you take something like the family court system. A system where sadly honesty and love for your son or daughter isn't always rewarded. But it oftentimes makes it more difficult to be in that son or daughter's life. Well, make it so family court is only ordered in special circumstances. If you can prove you are supporting your son or daughter, you have the receipts for school, for food, medical, clothes, then there is nothing to be done, except possibly to order this parent spend more time with their son or daughter. Guess what will happen? Narcissists and those with evil intentions will walk away from starting families. They will walk away from romantic relationships, because there will be no benefit. And those that have good intents, not perfect people, because everyone is flawed, but those that are trying to put their best foot forward, they will be the ones out there starting families and getting involved in romantic relationships. But right now, just like in public service, where those that have good intents have said, nope, I can't do that job, because I can't change who I am. I don't want to be around that possible corruption. And as a result, more people that have bad intents might flock to such jobs. Well, the same in relationships. You see a lot of people that have good intents have pulled away from long-term relationships and having families. And guess what? Those that have narcissistic traits jump right into this, so they latch onto anyone that has good intents that is still hopeful of finding someone good. And then once these two parts of life are worked on, it can trickle down to normal work and life. You see, folks, it's just a matter of admitting what is happening. Yes. Under normal circumstance where honesty and truth are seen as a good thing, narcissism has a hard time thriving or even growing. But when that has been taken away, and you are in a place where manipulation is king, you will find narcissism will not only thrive, but it will spread rapidly. This is why more talk about narcissism needs to take place. The narcissist isn't just some weird character from a movie, or the one out there with a flashy car and clothes. But they can be the elderly person that lives next door to you, or your boss that makes cookies and brings them to work every Friday. And their goal is manipulation and to make it so it doesn't bounce back to them after they've done what they have done to you. And you have a couple of choices. Hang on to who you are and ride it out, and find another job, or deal with it the best you can, or conform to the way of the narcissist. And sadly, there are what I call a lot of narcissist lights out there. They are conforming to just get along. But the sad part about it all is some of them now like it. Some don't. But some do. And anyone acting like this, no matter if they like it or not, they put you at great risk in a great many areas of your life. With that said, what can be done? Well, first off, I pray. Because I'm a believer. But I speak out about it. And that's why I've done so for the many years I've been doing this. Because the hope is to one day get this platform to where I can reach more people. And hopefully that might at bare minimum help those that are targeted develop themselves in such a way that if they are targeted, they can deal with it or manage it better. At least that is the hope. But the big goal is to change, or at least spark the change of something like, let's say, the family court, or the talk about narcissism in the public service fields. And how having a narcissist or other toxic type serving the public is probably not the best choice for that field. Start hiring those that have the physical skills you are looking for, but those that care about people as well. And I think if we can get some of these changes to happen, it might just trickle down into other areas of society. And you know what? Even if this message helps only one person, then at least I know I did my job. Because it's all about trying to take what I have learned and make a positive difference in others' lives. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.